This is a Channel 9 news update. Snow and cold, but the sun's out. So I talked about the issues with the slide outs briefly and why I'm thinking of a giant slide out cover for these guys. You can't see it now, but there was about 3 or 4 inches of snow on here. And if you look down the rail, you'll see some snow kind of under the roof. And all this snow that's on the roof, when the slide out goes in, if it doesn't fall over the edge of the roof, will get packed against the wall and will not let the slide out hit flush. And you can see it also gathers that crap, which ends up inside. So I've come to a couple revelations, and you can see those little guys. Nashville, 1,500 miles I drove with those little dingleberries flying around, and they haven't gone anywhere. That's why I slide out cover. Let's go to the other side and take a look at what's going on over there. So here's what I'm planning, is basically an awning, a fixed awning that is attached to the roof, the full length from the very, very front to the very rear, that's gonna come over the slide out and possibly beyond the slide out a foot. And here's why. It's gonna fold down under the roof. When the slide out goes in, that awning will fold down, and when the roof comes down, that awning is gonna sit on this. So basically I have a solid edge from here up to the edge of the roof when it sits closed. It'll look nice, and it'll help with wind resistance, and it'll keep the rig relatively clean as well. The only downside is that it's gonna hang over the slide out by about a foot. And if I'm ever in a tight spot, it's gonna be tough to get that sucker up, but we're kind of working on that. So back to some slide out issues. So a couple things. When I built this, I didn't know the gap, what the gap should be. And I have about a 3/4 inch gap between the actual wall and the body of the slide out. With that said, you can see how much material I have here. I don't think I need quite this much. I'm gonna take about 1 inch off of this on the inside and the outside. But on the outside, here's another issue. So many things. I'll show you on the inside. It's probably a little more obvious, but you can see where the seal actually seals really well on that Phylon. But as you get down to the trim, whether it's this slide out trim, which will be this, or this piece here, this kind of pushes out a little bit, and that creates a bit of a gap right there. And that happens all the way around this thing. So it's gotten me to thinking, this is a spot, and this is what I noticed when we were camping in Nashville, is that this spot allows moisture to actually, if it comes down here and we're leaning a little bit, to get in there easier than if it was a solid piece all the way down. And it's got me to thinking, I'll show you on the inside. There's a perfect spot right there. You can see that the seal, I have 2 seals in there, and you can see there's a little glistening of water. It's not coming in or anything, but it can. And I think I mentioned before, if water can get in anywhere, it sure will. But you can see what that trim piece does is lifts this just enough that water can sneak under there. There is a real good shot of what it is doing. So the main part, this whole edge seals perfectly. Inside and out, it's just the corners that are biting me in the butt. So you see that one also just drives me nuts. Here's what we're gonna do is on both these guys, I'm actually gonna take this seal, you can see here it's coming in a little bit too. I'm gonna take this seal and cut about 1 inch off on the inside because I have the bulb to seal air and whatever else when the slide out goes in. But I'm gonna cut this down so I don't have so much meat going into the slide out, so it has less of a chance, you can probably see it on the outside, less of a chance to ripple, basically, to kind of fold up. It'll slide easier. That's 1. 2, on the outside, I have come to the awful conclusion that I think this Phylon, I'm gonna have to peel this off. So basically I'm gonna take the slide out trim off, and I'm gonna have to chisel the Phylon off of the sides and the top of the slide out on both slide outs. And what I'm going to end up doing is when I coat the entire rig in Line-X or Bullet or Rhino lining or whatever it is, I'm also going to coat the sides and the top. And originally I decided on this Phylon material because it is so smooth. It's like glass. And it's like glass mat fiberglass or whatever it is, like glass. So it seals well with the rubber seal. And my fear was with the Line-X, it was textured and it wouldn't seal quite as nicely as the Phylon does. Well, since I am putting an awning from that end all the way across to that end, and it's going to actually cascade over the slide out by a foot, this really isn't going to see a whole lot of moisture. And when the edge is drawn in, I'll still have a seal here, so I'm not worried about the seal completely sealing on this edge, like exactly perfectly, because when it's closed, this edge will bite on the rubber seal and seal perfectly. And when it's open, it's going to be covered with the awning. So there's the slide out update. The seals in the Phylon have worked out great up until now, but long term, I don't think it's the solution. Let's see, what else? What else? I don't know. I was gonna do a quick rundown of where the rig's at. I'm gonna start pulling, I have to pull the composting toilet out, and I'm gonna cover the floor in the bathroom. I'm gonna pull the cooktops out, the fridge out, the microwave out, and I think I'm gonna start wrapping this guy in 1/4-inch foam core insulation. And I can do the slide outs without any issues because there's no water issues. The roof is not 100% sealed, but we were in Nashville. We had a drip coming out of someplace up there, and until I get this thing coated and absolutely positive that it's 100% waterproof, I am not going to put any insulation on the roof for fear of trapping water between the insulation and the framing. So that's where I'm at. I have a ton of stuff to do. Cleaned up the garage, and the last couple days have not done much else because I kind of needed to get my head straight. So I've cleaned up the rig, cleaned up the garage. It helps me think a little bit, and I've been writing notes and writing down things I have to get done before I do the roof and get done before I wrap the outside of this with whatever material. And that's kind of been stymieing me for a while because I didn't know where to start, because I have a ton of stuff I can work on, but I need to make sure I get the order right and don't start jumping around on projects. So that's what's going on in my world. I'll keep you updated. That's kind of a current status of the rig. And yeah, next thing is I'm going to bring this to Line-X down south and have them look at the roof. I think I'm going to spray just the roof with Line-X for sure, because I'm pretty happy. Let's see. Pretty happy with the way the pan turned out. Obviously this is just the area for the toilet to sit on, but you can see all the way back there, and then underneath the decking is sprayed with Line-X. And those two holes back there for the plumbing, I actually had to wallow one out just a hair to get the fitting to snugly fit and to fit correctly. And man, it was like grinding steel. So I was really impressed on how tough this stuff is. And obviously it's waterproof because I'm using it for my shower, so I'm super happy with the Line-X product. You can see the outside sprayed as well. But yeah, I'm gonna head down south tomorrow and see if they can put a bid together for me to spray the top of this. And hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll get the top sprayed, and then I can start working on finishing the inside. And when it gets warmer outside, start working on the outside so I can get that sprayed. I think the front bumper and the rear hitch I'm going to take to sandblasting and powder coating and get those done. So there's an update on the rig and the slide outs. That's about it, guys. Until the next video, thanks for hanging out.